Back Row Ministry, the world premiere, Mr. Marty coming back at you live and direct. Called the economic interview from Kamala Harris. As I said, she's no better than Trump as they continue to back the Israeli statement, Israeli war, and they're going to give that $38 billion away no matter what. But this is very sad that this sister is a AKA, went to Howard University, is representing a line of AKAs. And when I'm talking about AKAs are deep, I mean AKAs are deep. And these are some very talented women, very established women. And this is who they have to represent them. So, I know about the Tuskegee chapter, AKA Norfolk State chapter. We got our Delta sisters. We got Phi Beta Sigma sisters. It's a lot of black women representing, doing their thing that are a member of these organizations. And to kind of throw Kamala out there as the face right now of the AKAs is not a good look. Because honestly, in our college days, when we were stomping the yard, she would be considered a ditto head to us. I mean, she's not, it ain't really clicking. So here's this interview that Kamala did. She doesn't want to do interviews. I don't know what ditto heads are telling her that this is a smart tactic, because it really doesn't make any sense to me. People want to know what the hell you're talking about and what you're about. And in politics, I need to know what you're talking about and what you're about. I don't give a damn about how you look, But I do understand one thing. The words that you say can get you in trouble. And that is something my father taught me a long time ago. Watch what you're saying. Someone's going to hear exactly what you said. Remember that Guru song? So Kamala has said things in the past that are getting her in trouble today. And it's not Donald Trump saying this. These are things that she said that now people are bringing back up. And these are black people who are bringing these things back up to the forefront. So with black folk, you can't say A and then B, B, C, and D. It don't work like that in our culture. That's black American culture. That's black American culture. That's island culture. You just can't say something and, 5 minutes later it's something else. No. One thing we say, we got a statement here in America. You got to keep it real. And when we see you not keeping it real, we're going to question some things. That's what Janet did. Janet was like, I don't know. Plus, Janet and Kamala got beef over the Michael Jackson trial from 2004. That's where their beef comes in. I don't know where Kamala actually stood when it came to the district attorney's office against Mike. I don't know what else was said. I'm not privy to that. But it's apparent that there's some beef between Janet and Kamala. And right now, Janet ain't feeling Kamala. Because anybody knows Janet, she loved her brother. So Janet ain't feeling Kamala. Anybody that's coming after her brother, she ain't really feeling. She a Taurus. She not feeling that. So they ain't gonna never have no love. She's not gonna ever endorse Kamala or anybody, because Janet Jackson is a Jehovah's Witness, and Jehovah's Witnesses don't vote, just like Prince. Prince did not vote. He's a Jehovah's Witness. They don't vote. They don't endorse candidates. They have nothing to do with the political process. And the Janet interview was all about sex trafficking. So how did we get from sex trafficking to do you rock with Kamala? So a lot of dirty things was done, and I'm happy that, Janet, you can say what you want to about her. I've said plenty of stuff about Janet. But Janet from Gary, Indiana. She from Gary. And you can't take Gary out of no Gary person. If you know Gary, Indiana, like I do, I'm from Chicago, so we know Gary. We know Gary boys and girls. And the Gary gonna pop out. So don't say that they apologize when you know they didn't. Because they're gonna come at you hard in the face and be like, hell no, I ain't say that shit. I stand on what the hell I said. And you're supposed to. You're supposed to. So let's watch some of this Kamala interview, and all you can do is exhale when you hear her talk. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know how she became Attorney General of California, honestly. I'm just perplexed.
Madam Vice President, you just laid out your economic vision for the future.
Yeah.
But still, there are lots of Americans who don't see themselves in your plans. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Well, if you are hardworking, if you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do, you're in my plan. You know, I have to tell you, I really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people. We have ambition. We have aspirations. We have dreams. We can.
What is this thing where she pulls the Dr. Umar, and you know how Dr. Umar like to say the same thing like 40 times? What is this thing where she goes back and says the same damn thing? We have dreams, we have ambitions, we have aspirations. So you're part of my what the hell are you talking about? Because have you really told me your economic plan talking about dreams? Yeah, people have ambitions. Yeah, people have dreams. So from an economic standpoint, how are you going to help these individuals reach these dreams? Yeah, we all have these things you're talking about. But that's not a plan. That's internal. That's not a plan.
See what's possible. We have an incredible work ethic, but not everyone has the access to the opportunities that allow them to achieve those things. But we don't lack for those things. But not everyone, you know, gets handed stuff on a silver platter. And so my vision for the economy, I call it an opportunity economy, is about making sure that all Americans, wherever they start, wherever they are, have the ability to actually achieve those dreams and those ambitions, which include, for middle-class families, just being able to know that their hard work allows them to get ahead, right?
Okay, so what does that mean? What is this opportunity economy? The hard work allows you to get ahead. Okay, how is the economy affecting middle-class people? We don't lack for opportunities, as she said. We don't. But somebody, as I said in my other video, has to open doors. You must put yourself in various positions. Keys have to be turned. Life is about putting yourself in position and listening, the attentive ear. So opportunities are plentiful in America. She's correct. But then she goes in this thing about middle class people. What about the poor? What about people who are not middle class? What about people who are scraping to get by? What about people who lack the ability to gain education? So the education system in America is pay, 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 pay. Can we create an economy where they don't have to pay, 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 pay? Is that your opportunity economy? So the first thing that they always do is go straight to the middle class, but they forget about the poor. Remember now, everybody in America, just because you make a certain amount of money, does not make you middle class. Middle class is a certain SES, social economic status, that everybody that has not hit. So everybody's not middle class. For the majority of people in America, they would be poor. My mom is poor. She barely maybe makes, $2,000, $3,000 a month. She's retired. She's poor. And that's why I'm upset about this $38 billion over the next 10 years to a country that's not America, because we can filter that money back into America and do some things that will create opportunities for those people here.
I think we can't and we shouldn't aspire to have an economy that just allows people to get by. People want to do more than just get by. They want to get ahead. And I come from the middle class. Look, my mother raised my sister and me. She worked hard. She saved up. By the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy our first home. And, you know, home ownership for too many people in our country now is elusive. You know, gone is the day of everyone thinking they could actually live the American dream. So part of my vision for the economy is let's deal with some of the everyday challenges that people face and address them with common sense solutions, such as affordable housing.
Okay. So she's talking about affordable housing right now. What the hell does that got to do with everyday stuff? What if you own a house? I own a damn house. I don't need another one. I know people that own 2, 3 houses. But if I go to the store, a box of cereal right now is $6. That's what people are concerned about right now. Most people don't want to be homeowners. They like to rent because they don't want all the responsibilities that come with a home. So everybody's not looking to be a homeowner. But most of my friends, they own their own home. But what they're pissed about is the cost of living continues to increase. For people who like to rent, the cost of living continues to increase, making rent prices higher, making mortgages higher. Here, where I'm at, property taxes high. Nobody's doing anything to address those issues. So when you go, well, it's opportunity economy, and I'm gonna help people buy houses, which everybody doesn't want to buy a house. People just want to know that, hey, gas ain't gonna kill me, so I'm able to get to work. Tolls ain't gonna kill me, which is more local issues, state government issues. But the price of food now is killing us. That's a transportation issue. Getting things from point A to point B is costing more, so they got to jack up these prices. So these companies say it. So is there price gouging? Yes, I agree with her. There are some price gouges, but how do you address it? Because she ain't addressing it now. That's the problem. She's the vice president now. She works for the president now. The past 3 years, these things have increased. What have you done to fix them? COVID is over, so you can't go back to COVID and blaming COVID for why you haven't done anything.
Over the last 4 years, there have been tremendous economic wins, and you've just laid out a big plan. But still, polling shows that most likely voters still think Donald Trump is better to handle the economy. Why do you think that is?
So she lies, and the commentary said, well, you just laid out your plan. What plan? We're going to create an opportunity economy. Did she say how she was going to reduce the price of goods? Maybe she gets into that. You talk about Donald Trump. He's already been president. You've already seen economically what he wants to do. You know, he's big on tariffs. He's big on energy and dropping energy. We already know that. Gas was cheap during the time of Trump. I can't lie about that shit. It was. So we already know economically what he wants to do. Have I agreed with everything he does? No. Thing he messed up with when he did that tax change and you only can claim $10,000 on your house is a bunch of bullshit. If you're in a state where property tax is high, that's not helping you. So he fucked up with that. So that was a jacked up part of his economic plan, but at least I know it.
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts. Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since the Great Depression when you look at, for example, the employment numbers.
It was during COVID, and employment was so high because we shut down the government, we shut down the country.
Even before the pandemic, he lost manufacturing jobs by most people's estimates, at least 200,000. He lost manufacturing plants. Ask the auto workers how he lost auto plants. We have grown over 20 new auto plants. He has an agenda. Let's just deal with it right now going forward, not to mention what happened in the past. He has an agenda that would include making it more difficult for workers to earn overtime, an agenda that would include cutting off access to small business loans for small businesses, an agenda that includes tariffs to the point that the average working person will spend 20% more on everyday necessities and an estimated $4,000 more a year on those everyday necessities, to the point that top economists in our country, from Nobel laureates to people at Moody's and Goldman Sachs, have compared my plan with his and said my plan would grow the economy, his would shrink the economy. Some of them have actually assessed that his plan would increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year.
So if she goes on this tirade about Trump, what he did prior to COVID, and we know the results of COVID and the effects of COVID, Trump, but she continues to move away from what they've done in the last 3 years. What have they done in the last 3 years that people could say, oh, well, Biden and Harris did this? The inflation is up now. So you can't go to, well, Trump. Trump will tell you why he's doing everything that he's going to do. He talked about tariffs. He's going to tell you why he's going to do everything he has to do. There are tariffs that are still in place that the Biden-Harris administration did not remove. So you can't say Trump, and he did this, but you still got stuff in play that you have not removed. When she talked about the tariffs on China, they haven't removed those tariffs yet. She sat there and said, well, he sold us out. Well, why didn't y'all remove the tariffs? Why are the tariffs still in play? So her First defense is, well, Trump did this and Trump did that. You are the vice president now. You work for the president now. What have you guys done that we can see that has made things better?
The facts remain that Donald Trump has a history of taking care of very rich people. And I'm not mad at anybody for being rich, but they should pay their fair share. But tax cuts for the billionaires and the top corporations in our country, and then not really paying much attention to middle-class families.
Now, here's her first lie. Now, she just went on this tirade about Trump, and then she talks about Goldman Sachs. Are these broke people? Are these poor people? She's hanging out with Oprah. Are these broke people? Are these poor people? Aren't these people going to want something back for their vote and their support? So this is the hypocrisy of politics that you see right off the bat. Well, we're not like them. But you're just talking about Goldman Sachs and a bunch of billionaires who have done nothing for anyone's community. They love your economic plan because it's not about anything. They can do whatever the hell they want to do in your economy, your opportunity. They have the opportunity to just do whatever they want to do. So you can't say, well, one person is about billionaires, but then you hanging out with Oprah and a whole bunch of billionaire movie stars. Hypocrisy. This is the hypocrisy of politics. But then you backed by Goldman Sachs and you're talking about Trump? Come on now.
My perspective on the economy is when you grow the middle class, America's economy is stronger. And there's empirical evidence to prove my point correct.
What about poor people? She goes straight to the middle class. Well, if you grow the middle class, well, what about the folks that's just making it? Oh, we'll give them opportunity. Okay, but they're just making it now. They're just scraping by. They don't have the means, or maybe they're not striving for certain things that's going to get them in middle class, or maybe those manufacturing jobs that are coming back. We got a lot of manufacturing jobs that have returned. Hey, maybe they're not a plethora of them in various cities that is creating the new middle class, because we have to create a new middle class. But what about these poor people? What about rich people? I can't overlook rich people. I can't say, well, they're rich, they're okay. Because they have concerns too. There's a reason why they're rich. Things have been set up so they can remain rich. But hey, if anything changes, if I get rich tomorrow, I want to know that, hey, I can navigate the environment and remain rich. I'm not going to BS you on this. So we got rich, middle class, and poor. We got to look out for all of them, and everybody's got to get some out of the deal.
Then let me ask you about taxes, because lots of people will say, I don't like Donald Trump, but he cut my taxes. He didn't just cut corporate taxes, he cut individual taxes. Now that expires next year, and there's some people confused saying, I don't know what's going to happen next year. Under a Harris administration, at what income level should someone expect their taxes to go up? And that state and local tax deduction that's currently capped and matters to a lot of people in blue states, are you going to lift that cap?
So first of all, when it relates to anybody making less than $400,000 a year, your taxes will not go up. Your taxes will not go up. And in fact, under my plan, taxes for 100 million Americans will actually be cut, including $6,000 a year for young couples for the first year of their child's life in a tax cut, a tax credit, essentially, by expansion of the child tax credit. And why is that? Because during the first year of a young couple, of a person's child's life, they're going to need help buying a crib, buying a car seat. And we all benefit when they're actually able to do what they naturally want to do to take care of their child.
And expanding that child tax credit.
All right, so do you believe that? And then she goes back to this same tax child credit that J.D. Vance brought up. Now she's acting like, she created the tax child credit, which is not true. J.D. Vance had spoke about that, and then 5 minutes later,
see all the new people pouring in. If you haven't,
here comes Kamala with her tax-free child credit.
Name in the chat box and what site you are from. And good morning, everyone. We'll get started right at 10 o'clock.
All right, so we're gonna finish this, but yeah, she talked about this tax child credit. She got that from Van. She wasn't thinking about no tax child credit. She wasn't even talking about it.
Or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Look, I'm no stranger to close races. And one of the most powerful things I've learned.
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about...
Okay. So she's going to make Goldman Sachs pay their fair share? So 1 minute you're saying, well, Goldman Sachs, she's going to make Goldman Sachs pay their fair share. After she just bootlicked and kissed their fannies, you think she's going to make Goldman Sachs pay their fair share? The people who backed her economic plan? Here's the hypocrisy again, where they're all going to pay their fair share. I'm going to make sure Goldman Sachs plays. No, she's not. She's a hypocrite. And plus, she's giving that $38 billion to Israel. So she really don't give a damn about cutting taxes too much.
Paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share. And it is not right that the teachers and the firefighters that I meet every day across our country are paying a higher tax than the richest people in our country.
Bill Gates just said it this week. If he was in charge of taxes, he would have paid more. But how do you find that line to make sure corporations are paying their fair share, but they're not leaving our country?
Well, listen, I work with a lot of CEOs. I have spent a lot of time with CEOs, and I'm going to tell you that the business leaders who are actually part of the engine of America's economy agree that people should pay their fair share. They also agree that when we look at a plan such as mine that is about investing in the middle class, investing in new industries, investing in bringing down costs, invest in entrepreneurs like small businesses, that the overall economy is stronger and everyone benefits. Part of my plan for the economy is investing in new industries in a way that we have active partnership with the private sector. I've worked with the private sector my entire career. Even as vice president, working with some of the biggest banks and biggest tech companies to increase by billions of dollars the money going into community banks to increase access to capital for small businesses.
Okay, here's a small business thing. We need all these small businesses. How many people can small businesses employ? With major corporations like your Walmarts and your Costco's and Play and other spots. How many people can small businesses actually employ? So this is a bunch of hogwash, because we need to get these small businesses up. Come on now. Come on, a bunch of hogwash, a bunch of straight to the core hogwash. So that concludes part 1 of this video. Part 2 coming up in a little bit.